Thank you for joining this lesson. We will discuss mathematics paper 1 in preparation for the KCSE 2022 examination. Remember to receive our success greetings for the candidates 2024. We are wishing everyone success. If you've been a follower, we appreciate you and we wish you the very best during this examination season. Remember also to join our online programs for the students in lower forms. Form 2, Form 1, Form 3. We invite all of them for a serious program, which will be running from the 11th of November all the way to the 11th of December, only for 1 month. Use our number 0704 15 3366 for consultations on the same program and also for registration. Remember to purchase your item for any network from your M-Pesa. Just go to the M-Pesa menu, Lipa na M-Pesa, then the pay bill number is 737356. Then the account number is the number that you'd like to purchase airtime for. Once you enter the number now, you can proceed with the amount, then you confirm the other details, and the airtime is going to reflect instantly. Airtime will reflect instantly. That said, allow me now introduce tonight's paper to you. Let me introduce the night's paper to you. Yeah, I just want to continue polishing up. I know we've done a lot, but it's never enough until we are fully prepared. So let's continue preparing together. This is the paper that we're going to discuss. Follow keenly. Invite a friend. You can simply click the share button so that you may invite a friend by sharing this link with them. Otherwise, thank you so much for being present. Number 1, without using a calculator or mathematical tables, evaluate 5.5 minus 1 into 1 over 7, then into brackets 1 into 1 over 5 plus 9 over 10 plus a third of 2 thirds plus 5 out of 6. This is a computations of fractions, and you know very well that we have to use BODMAS. BODMAS is the acronym that will help us to know which sign comes before the other, which operation is performed before which one. So let me first of all convert all the mixed numbers into improper fractions. In such a case, 5.5 is going to become 11 over 2 minus, this is a 8 over 7. Then inside the brackets now, we are having a 6 over 5 plus 9 over 10 plus a third. Instead of off, we can have multiplication. Then we now work out with 2 thirds plus 5 out of 6. Then we can use the LCM, which is 6. So 6 divided by 3, we get 2. 2 times 2, we get 4. Plus 6 divided by 6, we get 1. Times 5, that will be 5. Yeah, we can continue. 11 out of 2 minus 8 over 7. Then we work out inside the brackets. Now the LCM will be 10. 10 divided by 5, we get 2. 2 times 6, that becomes 12. Plus 10 divided by 10, that gives us 1. Times 9, we get 9. Plus a third into, this is 9 over 6. Yeah. Let's continue performing the operations. Remember, this is 11 over 2 minus 8 over 7 is going to multiply. This is 21 out of 7 plus. When you perform, you can now open brackets because whatever was inside the brackets has been performed. So we can now multiply a third by 9 over 6, and this is going to give us 3 out of 6, which is simply half. Yeah, from that part we get a half. Let me subdivide my space so that I have 11 over 2 minus, this is by 7 1, by 7 3, then by 2 4, and by 2 5. So this is 12 over 5 plus half, whereby the LCM now is 10. 10 divided by 2, we get 5. 5 by 11 becomes 55. 10 divided by 5, we get 2 times 12, that gives us 24. Then plus 10 divided by 2, 5 times 1 remains 5. So this is 55 plus 5 giving us 60, then minus 24. And that is going to give us exactly 36 now over 10. Yeah, 36 over 10. And finally, it's now to simplify by 2 18 and by 2 5. And finally, we make it now a mixed number. And the mixed number is going to be 3 and 3 over 5. So this becomes now our simplified final answer. Number 2, 3 similar steel bars of length 200 centimeters, 300 centimeters, and 360 centimeters are cut into equal pieces. Underline cut. They are cut into equal pieces. Each piece is sold at 30 Kenya shillings. Calculate the least amount of money obtained if all the pieces are sold. So when you are subdividing 200, 300, and 360, we need some factors which can divide all these equally. And when we talk of factors, then that means the greatest factor, which can divide both 200, 300, and 360. And it means we first of all need to obtain the GCD, the greatest common divisor, because we need to cut into pieces. So we need a factor which can divide both of them equally, and we need the greatest common divisor, 200, 300, 360. So we're going to perform now some extraction of common prime factors, in which case we need by 2, this will be 100, 150, 180, by 250, 75, 90. 2 cannot divide all of them because 75 is not even. So we go to the next prime factor, which is a 5 now. So by 5 we get 10, 15, 18. And I don't think there is any other common factor because 5 cannot divide all of them because of 18. 3 cannot divide all of them because of 10. Yeah, so this is a, it means now we need 2. The GCD is 2 by 2 by 5, giving us exactly 20. So the piece of the piece of steel bars can be divided into equal portions of 20 centimeters each. And that is to mean, because each piece will be sold at 20, then we can get the number of pieces obtained from the first bar, whereby from 200 we divide by 20. This is giving us 10. When we take 300 over 20, we're going to get 15. Then 360 over 20, we get 18 pieces. So these are the pieces. So we can get total pieces obtained. Total pieces will be 10 plus 15 plus 18, an equivalence of 43, which means that now the total amount obtained, the total amount will be, when we take 43 multiplied by 30 shillings for each, multiplied by 30 for each, we're going to get Kenya shillings 1290. Kenya shillings 1290. So the total amount of money in Kenya shillings obtained from the sale of the pieces is going to be 1,290. A very interesting question is in number 3, whereby we are told to find the value of A, given that the tangent of 60 degrees plus 5 sine of 4 over 5A minus 5, the cosine of 13 over 15A equals to the square root of 3. This is a very interesting question. Reason being, a learner must be able to relate all the trigonometric ratios of special angles with what we call trigonometric ratios with surds, because every trigonometric ratio can be expressed in surd form. That being so, it means we can use the equilateral triangle of 2 units. I'm just making it simpler. Equilateral triangle of 60, 60, 60, and there are 2 units all over. So that when we subdivide this triangle, we're going to have 1 unit and 30 degrees here. Then the vertical height obtained is going to have a length equivalent to, using Pythagoras theorem, 2 squared minus 1 squared, then the square root. That will give us the square root of 3. And if the side there is equivalent to the square root of 3, then it means the tangent of 60 degrees is going to be the square root of 3 out of 1, sorry. Simplifying that, the tangent of 60 is simply the square root of 3. Being the square root of 3, it means that is the expression of tan 60 in surd form. Even when you go to the calculator, you click tan 60, there is the value you will get, and you also click the square root of 3, you get the same value. Therefore, tan 60 is equivalent to that. And from our equation, it means this value and this one are just the same. And from that, we can conclude that 5, the sine of 4 over 5a minus 5, the cosine of 13 over 15a equals to 0. Equals to 0, because tan 60 being the same as the square root of 3 now, you can just group them together and they will become 0, because their value is 1. Their value is the same, sorry. Their value is the same. So they are cancelling out. They are appearing on both sides and it's the same. So the grouping cancels them, and a student must be very sharp to see that concept. From this point now, we can take because now we are on the concept of complementary angles. 5 sine 4 out of 5a equals to 5 cosine of 13 out of 15a. You see now 5 is appearing on both sides again. So 5 cancels out and we remain with the sine of 4 over 5a equals to the cosine of 13 out of 5a, 13 out of 15a. At this point now, we know that for two complementary angles, the cosine of one equals to the sine of the other one. So sine is always equal to cosine if and only if the two angles, when added up, will give us a 90 degrees. Let me write the rule for complementary angles. Cos beta is the same as the sine of alpha if and only if and only if by taking a beta adding to alpha we will get 90 degrees. So that is the only case which gives us that. Remember to purchase airtime from M-Pesa to any network by using the pay bill 737356. The account number is that particular number which you'd like to purchase airtime for. Then after that, now you complete the transaction by entering the amount and confirm your transaction. Then the airtime is going to reflect instantly. For the holiday programs, register for the Google Meet classes. The timetable is already out. Very considerate from 11th of November all the way to the 11th of December 2024. I invite your students to join us. Use the number 0704 15 33 66. This is the number which you are going to consult through for the classes. Now, with this rule about complementary angles are two acute angles which, when added, they give us 90. It means that from the above equation, then 4 over 5a, when we add 13 out of 15a, we're supposed to get exactly 90 degrees. And if that is so, then it means we can now say that adding the left hand side will give us 1 2/3 of a, the same as 90 degrees. And this implies that when we divide through by 1 2/3, the value of a shall become exactly 54. The value of a is exactly 54. Very interesting question. Let's look at another item which is very wonderful. Number 4, evaluate without using a calculator or mathematical tables. 60 multiplied by 2 power 6n minus 5 multiplied by 4 power 3n minus 1 divided by 64 power n minus 1. At this point, I'm going to, there are some numbers which have been raised to given powers, and there is a likelihood of putting them, or there is a possibility that they can be put to the same base. So when I rewrite that, I'll be having 60 multiplied by 2 power 6n, then minus 5 multiplied by, instead of 4, I can have 2 power 2, then there is already an existing power of 3n minus 1. I want to take you slowly on that concept. Divided by, instead of 64, we can have 2 power 6, then there is already an existing power of n minus 1. We can now go to the product law, which says if this is the point, this is a 2 power 6n then minus 5. Now, when multiplied by 2, this one has to become 6n minus 2. I multiply through by 2. That is the product law. Divided by 2 power 6n minus 6. 2 power 6n minus 6. At this point, we can also apply another law of indices, which says, in case we have a power m being divided by a power n, we can solve this by simply taking a and we subtract the powers. So applying this in the second term and also in the denominator, we shall rewrite our equation as 60 multiplied by 2 power 6n minus 5 multiplied by 2 power 6n, but this one now is divided by 2 power 2, which is an equivalence of 4. 2 power 2, which is an equivalence according to this power, according to this law of indices. Then this is divided by, everything divided by 2 power 6n. Again, everything divided by 2 power 6, which is 64. 2 power 6, which is 64. Yeah, at that particular point now, I can see there is something uniform both in the numerator and in the denominator, and we can factor out as 2 power 6n. So that we remain with 60 minus 5 and a quarter. There is 5 multiplied by a quarter here. Yeah, 5 multiplied by a quarter, which is 5 over 4. Not 5 and a quarter, 5 multiplied by a quarter. Don't get it twisted. 5 multiplied by a quarter. Then this is 2 power 6n, and in the brackets, we shall remain with 1 out of 64. This is now to mean that appearing both in the numerator and in the denominator, it can simplify out. Then we will talk of 60 minus 5 multiplied by a quarter. 6 minus 5 over 4. That gives us 58 and 3/4. Divided by 1 out of 64, which means we can multiply by 64, because dividing by 1 over 64 can mean multiplying by the reciprocal. Yeah, 58 and 3 over 4 can now multiply by 64, and simply we're going to have 3760. That is 760. So that is the final simplified answer. The final simplified answer. Thank you so much for following such a question. Remember our number for registration for the online classes for Form 3s, Form 2s, and Form 1s, 0704 153366. So this is the number through which you're going to register. We can now go to question number 5. Question number 5. Yeah, what I'm talking about registration is for this particular program. You reach out through that number and your child gets enrolled. Very powerful programs. One-on-one, very good interactions. Students can ask questions from where they are, and we can respond to their questions. We can also pose a question for them, and they can respond, and we can hear their answers from wherever they are. So please make sure that you join us. Number 5, a sales lady is given a basic salary of 12,000 Kenya shillings. In addition, she's paid commission as follows: up to 100,000, no commission, 0%. For sales above 100,000, now the commission is broken down as follows: the first 50K, 2%, the next 50,000, 2.5%, and any amount above 200K, 5% commission. During a certain month, she sold goods worth 245,000 Kenya shillings. Calculate her total earning for that particular month. So for that particular month, she earned a basic salary of 12,000. Then for the first 100,000, there was zero commission. But in the next 50,000, because we can see she sold even to beyond 200,000, so she's going to earn commission from 145,000, because the first 100,000 is not earning any commission. But now in this 145, the first 50K, there is a commission of 2%, and this is exactly 1,000. So she got 1,000 from the first 50K. In the next 50K, she got 2.5%, and this amounts to 1,250. That amounts to 1,250. And finally, there is the 45,000. Now the amount beyond 200,000, 45,000, 45,000 at a rate of 5%, and this gave her 2250. 2250. So from commissions, she's going to earn a total of, when you add all the commissions now, 4,500. So the total commission earned was 4,500 Kenya shillings. But now there is the total earning for that month. Apart from this commission, there is a basic salary of 12,000, then commission depending on the goods sold. This is to mean the lady got a total earning of 16,500. 16,500 Kenya shillings. That was the total earning for the particular lady in this given month. So that's how we calculate the total earning. You can see people are still following. Remember to subscribe to this platform. Remember to share so that you may invite a friend. Let's prepare together. Invite a candidate somewhere so that we may also learn together. Number 6 is on statistics. The table below shows marks obtained by 60 students in a mathematics exam. 60 students, very important. 60 students in a mathematics exam. So we have the marks in classes there from 11 to 20, 21 to 30, all the way to 81 to 90. Then we are given again the number of students for the particular classes: 3, 9, K, 14, 10, 6, P, and 2. Calculate the values of K and P, given that the median mark is 45.5. So with the mark provided, the median mark provided, ours is now very simple. We need to talk about how do we get median? Lower class boundary plus n over 2, total frequency over 2, minus small letter c, cumulative frequency before the median class, divided by frequency of the median class, then multiplied by the class length or the class interval. Yeah, the class interval. This one I'm going to calculate it very well. For median, we need to come up with what we call cumulative frequencies, the CF column. CF will start with 3, then 3 plus 9 gives us 12, then 12 plus K gives us a 12 plus K, because it's a known anyway. It's a known anyway. Yeah. Then we have 12 plus 14 plus k, that gives us 26 plus k. Then again, when we add 10, we get that 6 plus k, plus 6, we get 42 plus k. Now at this point, we'll have 42 plus k and also plus p. And finally, 42 plus 2, which is 44, plus both k and p being unknowns. So those are the cumulative frequencies. What are we interested in? Median. According to the value of the median, which is 45.5, we can locate the class in which it lies. And through that, we will have gotten the median class. So the median class is 41 to 50 because the value of the median is 45.5. So median class is 40 to 50. And through that, we can say the median, which is now known, 45.5 is equivalent to lower class boundary. For the median class, 41 to 45, this is going to be 40.5 plus total frequency over 2. N over 2 gives us 30 because we are told that it is for 60 students who sat for this mathematics exam. So 60 over 2, let me even write it, minus cumulative frequency just before the median class is 12 plus k. 12 plus k divided by frequency of this class, frequency of the median class, then times the class width. The class width is given by upper boundary minus lower boundary. 50.5 minus 40.5. That gives us exactly 10. At this point now, we can even subtract so that this becomes 5. When we take 45.5 minus 40.5, we get 5. This is equivalent to 30 when we divide 60 by 2 minus 12 minus k, because the minus is overall. We are subtracting 12 minus k. So we open the brackets using a minus, divided by 14 multiplied by 10. At this particular point, again, we can multiply. All right, 5 equals to 18 minus k out of 14, then by 10, everything by 10. Now at that point now, the unknown is only 1. The unknown is only 1, and we can multiply by 14 over 10. By 14 over 10, 5 by 14 over 10 is going to become 7. This is equal to 18 minus k. To remain with k, we have to take it to the left-hand side where it becomes positive. Then 18 minus 7 gives us exactly 11. 18 minus 7 gives us 11. The value of k is known. And with the value of k known, then now we can wind up and say that the total cumulative frequency, which is 44 plus k, now known, plus p, should be exactly 60. To remain with p, we have to take 55 to the other side and we subtract it, giving us p as equal to 5 only. So that's how we play along such a very good question. I like the setting, and I know it's to some extent unique to a good number of learners. But as long as you've the background knowledge on what median is, then you can maneuver, you can play along with the numbers provided, and you get what we need. There is a number 7 here. A tourist arrived in Kenya with $. The money was converted into Kenya shillings in a bank, which buys and sells foreign currencies as shown below. There is a table there with currencies, There is the rate for buying, the rate for selling for this particular bank. The tourist used 5 million while in Kenya, then converted the rest into sterling pounds. The rest into sterling pounds. Given that he received 5200 sterling pounds, find M to the nearest US dollar. Find M to the nearest US dollar. This is a question that I would like us to handle it just slowly. I know it can have a multiple of approaches. I'll use one and I'll explain it into details. We know that converting foreign currency to Kenyan currency, we use the buying column and we multiply. We use the acronym actually called for KEBU. Foreign to Kenyan currency, the buying column, whereby we multiply. Then from Kenyan currency to foreign currency, we use the selling column. And in this particular case, we usually divide the currency. So with these two acronyms now, we shall play along until we find our value of M. If the tourist converted everything into Kenya shillings once he arrived in Kenya, then the balance that they got as sterling pounds, when they went to the bank with a given Kenya shillings as the balance, and they wanted sterling pounds, it was converted and they were given 5200 sterling pounds. How do we get conversion from Kenya shillings to sterling pounds? That is a Kefose, Kenyan currency. So there is a known Kenya shillings, which is being converted to sterling pounds by, of course, dividing it by the amount on the selling column. That is 126.64. When you divide this unknown with 126.64, we're going to get 5200. And this means that the value of X now can be gotten by multiplying 5200 by 126.64. And when that computation is carried out, we're going to get 658. 528. Yeah, that is the currency which was converted from Kenya shillings to sterling pounds. If this is what was converted, then this was our balance. Remember, the tourist had used 5 million in Kenya. So how much was the tourist having in total? Because we have the balance that was converted and the amount that was spent while in Kenya. Now, the amount, total amount that the tourist had is what was spent plus the balance which had been converted. The balance which had been converted, 5,658,528 Kenya shillings. So now the tourist was initially having 5,658,528 Kenya shillings. This is the amount the tourist received once they converted now M from US dollars. So it means for the tourist to have this total amount of Kenya shillings by converting a certain unknown amount, how do we convert the foreign currency to Kenyan currency? M was multiplied by the amount in the buying column for US dollars, 75.66. Yeah, M was multiplied by this figure to give us 5,658,528, which means we can remain with the value of M by dividing through. And when you divide through, you're going to get 74,789. Remember, we are supposed to give to the nearest US dollars. To the nearest US dollar. we're supposed to give to the nearest US dollar. So that is how you work out such a question. I know it has a bit been twisted. Learners are used to you get the amount they were having in US dollars, then you are given the amount they spent while in Kenya. Then we are told the balance is converted into sterling pounds. Find the amount in sterling pounds that the tourist received. This time round, we are provided with the converted balance for us to get back to the initial amount they came to Kenya with. And I again see that the question is really interesting. Remember, in this particular question, in this particular paper, we have already gone through commission. We have also gone through currency exchange rates. This is to tell you that commercial arithmetic is very key in paper one. You can even find a case on profits and losses. That is from commercial arithmetic 1. So let students be equipped with commercial arithmetic knowledge. Commercial arithmetic 1, that is book 1 for paper 1, and commercial arithmetic 2 for paper 2, which is found in book 3. Commercial arithmetic is a very fundamental knowledge. Let students understand. All right. Number 8. A translation T equivalent to 2, 3. That is the translation vector. Maps point A onto A prime negative 1, 7. The image of point B under the same translation is B prime 2, 13. Write down the equation of perpendicular bisector of line AB in the form y equals to mx plus c. At this point, we need first of all to know the coordinates of A and B. We know very well generally that translation vector plus object gives us image. This is so, then it means 2, 3 plus the unknown coordinates of point A should give us the image of A, negative 1, 7. So for us to get x, the x coordinate of A, we need to take negative 1 minus 2, which is negative 3. Then for us to get the y coordinate, we need to take 7 minus 3. And I'm using the x components now. And that is going to give us 4. Therefore, A as coordinate negative 3, 4. That is for A. For B, we apply the same. 2, 3 plus the unknown, can let it be A, B. This is equivalent to the image of B, which is 2, 13. 2, 13. Yeah, 2, 13. And that means for us to get A, we need to talk about now the x components. 2 plus A equals to 2. And when we take 2 to the other side, it will become a 0. Then for us to get B, we need to talk about 13 minus 3, giving us exactly 10. Therefore, the coordinate of B is 0, 10. With the coordinate of B this way, as 0, 10, then it means we can now move on with the question. Write down the equation of perpendicular bisector of AB in the form y equals to mx plus c. Our first thing to work out is, what is the gradient of AB? The gradient of AB, we can call it gradient 1, will be given by 10 minus 4. I'm using the change in y. For B, we have 10, and for A, we have 4. Divide by change in x, 0 minus negative 3. So this is going to be 6 out of positive 3, giving us 2. If the gradient is 2, now we're supposed to get gradient 2. Gradient for the perpendicular bisector of line AB. So gradient 2 is going to be, being a perpendicular bisector, then The other gradient must be such that when the two gradients are multiplied, we get -1. And that means we need the reciprocal with the opposite sign. So this is the second gradient, -half. Now the gradient is found, but our next question is, where is this perpendicular bisector passing through? If it's a perpendicular bisector of AB, then it passes between A and B. It passes at the mid of AB. So at the mid of AB, how do we get the midpoint? How do we get the midpoint? It passes through the mid of AB. The mid of AB will be given by the first x plus the other x over 2. Then y, 4, plus the other y, which is 10 over 2. This means -1.57. That is the coordinate. That is the coordinate of the midpoint. x1 plus x2 over 2, y1 plus y2 over 2. We get -1.57. So after we've gotten now the midpoint coordinate, we will know that that's where the perpendicular bisector passes. So we can now express our gradient so that we get the equation -half equals to change in y, y minus 7, divided by change in x, x minus -1.5. Cross multiplication, 2y minus 14. This is equivalent to -x. Then now -1.5 becomes a plus. So -1 again affects there. Start we have -1.5. Rearranging this equation, we'll have 2y equals to -x. Then we will have positive. Remember, we have now -1.5 plus 14. That will give us 12.5 positive. 12.5 positive. So to remain with y, we have to divide through by 2 now. So -half x plus 6.25. 6.25. 6.25. When we divide everything by 2, we divide everything by 2. So that is how we work out such an equation. It's good for students to be very aware of the concept on obtaining the midpoint. A very serious concept, because a student will use, they will work very well, they get even the second gradient, but now, being a perpendicular bisector of AB, they will start using any point there. They will start using point A or point B, which is not the case. The perpendicular bisector passes through the midpoint. Solve for x, given that, in number 9, given that 3 and x over 5 minus 4 and x over 20 equals to 2. That is a very serious question. Yeah, I'm reminding learners who are continuing with secondary school education to enroll to our program, which is going to run from the 11th of November to the 11th of December. The timetable is already out. Form 1 students are going to revise Form 1 work and also get an introduction to Form 2. Form 2 students will revise Form 2 work, Form 1 work, and they will get an introduction to Book 3 work. Form 3 students will revise Form 1, Form 2, Form 3 work, and they will get an introduction to Form 4 work. So please ensure you enroll your child to this particular program. You can promote us by purchasing airtime using our account. Go to the M-Pesa menu using any network, then enter the pay bill. Lipa na M-Pesa, the pay bill number is 737356. That pay bill can be mastered by anyone. Remember, you share it with friends. Then the account number is the number that you intend to purchase airtime for. Once you enter the number, now you can proceed with the amount of airtime that you would like to spend. You complete your transaction and the airtime is going to reflect instantly. Success greetings to the candidates of 20 24. Please give us your best. Do us proud. Thank you so much. I know you are prepared, people. Now in number 9. We are solving for x. The first thing I would like us to do is to convert these mixed numbers into what we call improper fractions. So to convert that, we need 5 by 3 plus x, 15 plus x, 15 plus x, everything over 5, plus, that's a minus, sorry, minus 20 by 4 giving us 80. Yeah, 20 by 4 giving us 80 plus x, 80 plus x. Then out of 20, this is equal to 2. Remember, 2 is just over 1 automatically, the simplest denominator when a number is whole number. We can talk about now the LCM of 25 and 1, which is 20. 20 divided by 5 will give us 4. So 4 now multiplies everything there. Minus 20 divided by 20 gives us 1. 1 times 80 plus x. This is equivalent to 20 divided by 1 gives us 20, then times 2. Now that we have used the LCM, we are even done with it. This will be 60 plus 4x minus 80 minus x equivalent to 40. Now in the grouping of like terms, 4 and negative x becomes 3x. And this is equivalent to, we have 40. This one will be added plus 80, but now minus 60. So this will be 40 plus 80 minus 60, because 60 is already positive. So it will be subtracted on that particular side. This will give us 3x equals to 120 minus 60, giving us 60. When you divide through by 3 to remain with x, then we're going to have 60 divided by 3, giving us 20. So the value of x is 20. It was not that simple question. Students have to be very careful, more so in the opening of brackets and also in the conversion of these mixed numbers into improper fractions. Students is bound to be very serious. In number 10, vector 2, collinearity. Remember, we have done a question in vector 1 already. The concept of calculating midpoints is vector 1. Now we are on collinearity, vector 2. Determine the value of h given that point A, -6, -3, B, -2, -1, and C, 6, -h are collinear. Being collinear, it means that there are vectors within these 2 or these 3 points which are parallel to one another. Being parallel to one another means that they are scalar multiples of one another. Being scalar multiples of one another means that when we work out a few vectors like vector AB, for me to get vector AB, I need B minus A, which means -2, -1, then I subtract -6, -3. This vector is becoming -2 minus -6. This -2 plus 6, which is 4. -1 minus -3. This is going to be -1 plus 3. That is the vector AB. We can also express another vector within the given coordinates, which can be even vector AC. Vector AC will be given by C minus A. So C is a 6, negative h minus a, which is negative 6, negative 3. This is going to be 6 minus negative 6 becomes a positive 12. Then negative h minus negative 3, that becomes negative h plus 3. Negative h plus 3, or simply 3 minus h. Now, I have two vectors now already expressed, vector AC and vector AB. The instruction is that the points are collinear, which means automatically these vectors are scalar multiples of one another. We can write AB multiplied by a certain scalar should give us the value of AC. And that means the scalar multiple can be determined. When we take K multiplied by vector AB, which is 4, 2, this is the same as vector AC, 12, 3 minus H. The X component is complete because we can use 4K equals to 12, and the value of K is confirmed to be 3. If the value of K is 3 and the two vectors are collinear, or the points are collinear, the two vectors are scalar multiple of one another, then it means we are supposed to get the same constant. We're supposed to get the same constant even when using the y component. And that means because K is 3 now, it means 3 when multiplied by 2, it's supposed to give us the other side, 3 minus H. That is what you're supposed to understand. Because you have known K, then K applies also on the y components. So 6 is equivalent to 3 minus H. And this means for us to get H, which is taken to the left-hand side now, we need 3 minus 6, and H becomes negative 3. Remember, we are simply finding the value of H. So it's going to be negative 3. Negative 3. Let students not get it twisted. We are finding the value of H and not negative H. And this means we are already done with the question, but that means if you are writing our coordinates for C, it would have been 6, then negative H, which is negative 3. So this is the coordinate C we would have had, but we are already done with the question. Number 11. We are continuing very well. Remember to subscribe to this platform and to also share the link with friends. Actually, in the remaining days now, I'll be concentrating with section 2 of paper 1 until our students now sit for the paper 1 on Tuesday. Find the equation of the normal to the curve y equals to x power 3 plus 2x squared minus 4x when x is equivalent to 1. Equation of the normal. Let's start with equation of the let's start with the tangent itself. What is the gradient function at the point x being equal to negative 1? Gradient function dy dx. When we differentiate for us to get gradient function, we start with 3x power 2. We just drop the power here and it reduces by 1, plus we drop the power again in the next term. So 2 finds another 2 there. They multiply to be 4. X and the power of x becomes 1 minus x is to power 1. So 4 remains there and x now becomes power 0, making it 1. So 4 by 1 remains 4. That's why it becomes a constant. So we are having the gradient function. And with the gradient function, now we can talk about the gradient of the curve at x equals to 1. At x equals to -1, gradient will be 3 into -1 squared plus 4 into -1 minus 4. So the value of the gradient is going to be, allow me compute this, plus 4 into -1 minus 4. The gradient is -5. This is the gradient of the curve at point x equals to -1. The same is also the gradient of the tangent at that particular point, which means gradient of the normal at the same point, gradient 2 now. Gradient of the normal is usually perpendicular to the tangent at that particular point. The normal, this is what I mean. If this is a curve, for example, and we have a tangent at this point, the gradient 1 of this tangent is equal to -5, which is also the gradient of the curve at that particular point. But now the gradient of the normal at that point means a line perpendicular to this tangent. So this is now what we call the normal, and the normal will have gradient 2, such that because they are perpendicular, when multiplied, they give us a gradient of -1. So the gradient has to be the reciprocal with the opposite sign, which means the gradient is a fifth. Reciprocal with opposite sign. Reciprocal with opposite sign. Excuse. So a fifth, yeah. Again, the other thing we need to know is the coordinate now at that point. If the value of x is -1, then we can go to the original equation. And we find the value of y at the same point. So the value of y at the same point is going to be -1 power 3 plus 2 into -1 squared minus 4 into -1. And this is going to give us, when we compute that, we shall get y as 5. Y being 5, then it means the coordinate is -1, 5. So we have a coordinate and the gradient. So we can now proceed and obtain the equation for this particular normal. Equation will be given when you express a fifth as the gradient, change in y minus 5, divide by change in x minus -1. So we need to cross multiply 5y minus 25 equivalent to x positive 1. Yeah, x positive 1. 5y is equivalent to x positive 26. At that point, you are already correct because you are not even given the format into which we intend the equation to be in, but it's good to make it in the general equation of y equals to mx plus c. So that is now the final equation. Calculate the exact square of the length. Square of the length of the side of an equilateral triangular card whose area is 81. So there is a triangular card here, equilateral, triangular card, equilateral, which means 60, 60, 60, and the sides are equal. The area is 81. Area being 81, we can now express what we are needed to get. We use the general formula. Area is given by half AB sine theta. For this particular case, A and B are two sides, and theta is the angle between the two sides, which means 81, which is our area, equals to half multiplied by, if one side is let to be x and the other one also x, because they are all equal, then we can choose x times x sine of 60. Sine of 60. 81 is equivalent to x squared over 2 times the sine of 60 degrees. Remember, there is over 2 somewhere. And it's good for you to know that we don't even need the length. We need the square of the length. And automatically, we are already having in our equation the square of the length. So we can make it our subject now. The square of the length. The square of the length. So to remain with x squared, then we need 2 times 81 divided by the sine of 60. Yeah, 2 by 81 over sine 60. Now with this, we can say that x squared, which is the square of one side, and we've been told to find the exact. Actually, that is the word of the day, exact. The word exact means you are not even going to round off. When you are told the word exact, then you're going to use either fractions, or if square roots are involved, we have numbers remaining in third form. The good thing, trigonometric ratios of special angles like 60 can also be expressed in third form. Now that they can be expressed in third form, the square root of 60 is equivalent to root 3 over 2. The square root of 3 out of 2. Yeah, the square root of 3 out of 2. The square root of 3 out of 2. Remember the triangle that we drew when we were solving one of the questions. So this is going to be 2 times 81 divided by root 3 out of 2. This is to mean x squared is equivalent to 2 by 81, and instead of dividing, we multiply by 2 out of root 3. This is going to be 4 by 81. Yeah, 4 by 81. This is a 324. Out of the root of 3. Now, what you should know is that when you are simplifying and you have introduced surds, you cannot leave unsimplified surds. To leave unsimplified surds means to leave a surd in the denominator. That one should not be found amongst students. So to rationalize this, we have to take 324 out of the square root of 3, and we multiply both the denominator and also the numerator with the same surd. Because it's not binomial for us to go to the conjugates, we just multiply both numerator and denominator with the same thing. So 324 over 3 multiplied by the root of 3. 324 over 3 gives us 108. So x squared equals to 108 multiplied by the root of 3. 108 multiplied by the root of 3. 108 times the root of 3. That is the most simplified, and it is again the exact, because when you start introducing the exact value of root 3, or if we had used the calculator value of sine 60, then we would have ended up rounding off, and what we would have obtained is not the exact. It's not the exact. Remember to like, remember to share, remember to subscribe to this particular class. please subscribe to our channel. Number 13. We are almost winding up. Number 13. A car 4 meters long traveling at 28 is traveling at 28 meters per second. The car is 4 meters long, 4 meters behind a truck, which is 16 meters long, traveling at an average speed of 24 meters per second in the same direction. How long will it take the car to completely pass the truck, to completely overtake the truck? So we have the total distance here. The car itself is 4 meters. Then it is 4 meters behind. Again, 4 meters behind a truck, which is 16 meters long. Therefore, for the car to completely overtake this truck, it has to cover the distance of 4 meters between the two vehicles, and again travel through the 16 meters of the track itself, and cover again the 4 meters, which is its own length, to now completely overtake. Because after covering 4 and 16, it will be at an equal position with the track. But now to overtake, it has to move the 4 meters, which is its own distance. Therefore, we talk of total distance now. Total distance is going to be 4 plus 4 plus 16, that is 24 meters. So we'll be working with a distance of 24 meters. Then we will cover this distance using the relative speed. The approaching speed, because they are going to the same direction, now it will be 28 minus 24, giving us 4 meters per second. 4 meters per second. So the approaching speed is 4 meters per second. If the approaching speed is 4 meters per second, if the approaching speed is 4 meters per second, then we need to get the relative time taken to cover relative distance. So we need the distance out of the speed. This is going to give us exactly 6 seconds. 6 seconds. That is the time taken to completely overtake. It's again a question which requires serious analysis for a student to approach it. Don't just rush into questions. Kindly have an analysis of a question. You see the way I'm analyzing questions? It is how you ought to do. It is what you ought to do. Remember our programs. I must remind you of our programs. Students are encouraged to register your brother, register your sister, register your siblings, register your nieces and nephews, inform even your neighbors about this wonderful program. Enroll using 07 04 15 33 66. That is for the students in Kenya. Please enroll using that number. The figure below shows a circle, center O, radius 4√2 centimeters. The length of the chord PQ is 8 centimeters. Just as you can see, 8 centimeters. Calculate the exact the area of the shaded region. Then leave your answer in terms of pi. Leave your answer in terms of pi. What we're supposed to do is to get the angle at the center first. Allow me subdivide so that I talk of a certain angle there. Remember, we are having 4√2 as the value of the radius. And now that this was 8, then it means I've divided into 4. So now we can use the triangle MOQ to find the angle at the center. We can use the sine of an angle. Sine of theta is going to be equal to opposite length to that angle is 4 divided by the hypotenuse, which is our radius. So this means we are having 1 out of the root of 2. 1 out of the root of 2. And for us to get theta implication is we need the sine inverse of 1 over root 2, and this gives us theta as 45 degrees. With theta as 45, then we can get the big angle now, POQ, as 45 by 2, giving us exactly 90 degrees. So the angle at the center is 90 degrees. With the angle at the center, we can now get the shaded region. Remember, the shaded region is just a minor segment, and the area of a minor segment is given by sector minus triangle. So we need shaded area by taking area of the sector. Area of the sector is given by beta over 360 pi r squared. Pi, then r is 4 root 2 squared. Then we subtract triangle. Half a is one side, and one side is going to be 4 root 2. The other side, which is b, is also 4 root 2. Sine of the angle at the center, sine 90. The value of sine 90 is 1. Remember, pi is not supposed to be substituted according to the instruction. We are leaving our answers in terms of pi. So this is going to be a quarter pi 4 root 2 squared. This becomes 16, and when you square root 2, we get 2. Therefore, 16 by 2 is 32. Yeah, minus. When we square again here, we're going to get 16 times 2, which is 32. So half by 32 by 1. The value of sine 90 is 1. So at this point now, we will talk of 8 pi minus 16 square centimeters. So that is the simplified final answer of the shaded region, area of the shaded region. 8 pi minus 16. 8 pi minus 16 square centimeters. Another good question here, very wonderful item, is a simplify completely. We shall apply the laws of indices. Remember, generally, we are having a negative 1 as the power. With negative 1 as the power, we can apply the simple law of negative index, the negative index law, which says in case we have a power negative m, we need to take the reciprocal of a, and the power now becomes positive. Then we shall apply it such that we take 3 m squared plus 75 squared out of, we can first of all, we can even expand as we apply that law. M squared plus 10 mn plus 25 n squared plus m squared minus 10 mn plus 25 n squared. That is after the function now. Then everything now becomes power 1. And you know, when something is raised or anything is raised to power 1, it just remains the way it is. So we have taken reciprocal of everything, and the power has become positive 1. On the numerator, we can factor out 3, so that will remain with m plus e squared plus 25 n squared. So the numerator is already simplified. Divide by, at the denominator, we can group like terms. This is m squared. So I'm having 2 m squared, then 10 mn minus 10 mn, that simplifies out. And finally, we'll be adding 25n squared and 25n squared to give us 50n squared. Yeah, 50n squared. 50n squared. At this point, again, we will have 3 into m squared plus 25n squared divided by 2 can be factored out, so that we remain with m squared. I'm sorry. M squared plus 25n squared. At this point now, we can see that this factor is just the same as this one. And so the final answer becomes 3 out of 2, which has to be expressed as 1 and a half. So that is the final simplified answer. A very good question. Very good question. A student must be alert to ensure that they simplify very well. Remember, our number is 0704153366 for your consultation and for your registration to our programs. We have number 16 as we wind up. On the grid provided below, show and mark the region R defined by the following inequalities. The first inequality for L1 is y less than or equal to x. For L2, x over 8 plus y over 4 greater than or equal to 1. Then x is less than 5. For us to apply these inequalities, we are supposed to change them to borderlines. For example, in L1, we will use a borderline y equals to x. For the second one, we use a borderline. We can remain with y. Let me take it slow even. X over 8 plus y over 4 equals to 1. You know, we replace an inequality with the borderline, which will represent it. We plot lines. So y out of 4 equals to 1 minus x over 8. We can multiply through by 4. So that will remain with y equals to 4 minus, when you multiply by 4 here, this will be half x. Yeah, half x that way. So we can get a table of values for this second borderline, x and y. X and y. X and y. So when x is 0, for example, the value of y will be 4. When x is 2, for example, we need y to be 4 minus half by 2, which is 1. So 4 minus 1 will give us 3. When the value of x is 4, I'm looking for even numbers because of a half there. Looking for even values of x because of the half. Y will be 4 minus half by 4 gives us 2. So 4 minus 2 is 2. And so on. But 2 coordinates are usually enough. This one is for L2. That is L2. This is L1. Now L3 is x equals to 5. This one is L3. Now we're supposed to plot all of them. The Cartesian plane has already been plotted for us. The Cartesian plane is ready. So it's now upon us to utilize it, to choose a good scale for the values that we have. Allow me use intervals of even 1. So 0, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, Then on the other axis, I use the same 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. For the first borderline, which is y equals to x, y equals to x means 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 0, 0. That is the first borderline. And for your information, it's going to be a complete line because the inequality is having less than or equal to. So it's a complete borderline. So I'm going to use my ruler to come up with this line. That is the borderline. Y equals to x. The borderline y equals to x. The next borderline, there is x equals to 5. So on the x-axis, where there is 5, and for that one, for L3, it's going to be a dotted line because it's strictly less than, no or equal to. So this borderline, I'm going to make it dotted, a dotted borderline. Dotted borderline. Remember to subscribe. Remember to share our lesson with your friends. This is a y equals to 5 as a borderline. Borderline y equals to 5. Y equals to 5. Then we can now talk of the last borderline, which is L3. This borderline has coordinates 0, 4, 2, 3, 0, 4. 0, 4 is a coordinate at this particular point. 0, 4 is there. Then there is 2, 3. So 2, 3 at that point. Then we have 4, 2. So 4, 2 at that point. So we can see now the line. We can plot more coordinates than those ones, but let me just use those 3. This again is going to be a complete borderline because of or equal to. When you look at the inequality keenly, you discover that the borderline is supposed to be complete. The borderline is supposed to be complete, greater than or equal to. So this is y equals to the region which has been bounded by the, that is becoming our region R. We have been told to and mark the region. So that is the region, which means all the other sides now are supposed to be shaded. All the other regions of the borderlines are supposed to be shaded for us to remain with region R. We have to shade the opposite sides now of the specific borderlines. And with this, our region R is clearly displayed. Thank you so much for following. Remember to enroll to our program, very serious program, which is going to take place between the 11th of November and the 11th of December for all secondary school students. Please enroll your child, enroll your brother, your sister, enroll your nieces and nephews, enroll your students to this platform. Use the number 0704 15 33 66 to reach out to us for logistics. Thank you so much.